These are going to be amazing. Hi, and welcome back to Higher Cooking. Today we're making a specialty in the city of Chicago, rib tips. That bottom piece of the rib that's often thrown away, we're going to turn into one of the most delectable treats you've ever had. Our recipe is going to start with 11 core spices. This is a slightly sweeter rub than I use on my traditional barbecue. I'm going to be using my spice grinder, i.e. coffee grinder, to make our spice mix today. We start with 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of coriander, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of granulated garlic, 1 teaspoon of dry mustard, 1 teaspoon of coarse ground black pepper, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, about 1.5 tablespoons of brown sugar, and finally 2 teaspoons of granulated honey. If you can't find granulated honey, you can use granulated maple, granulated sugar. It's just another way to bring more sweetness that has a distinctive flavor that you may not expect. Now I simply take all of my spices and I put it in my coffee grinder and give it a quick blend. You can see now I get a really good blend, powdery mix out of our spices. Next, let's grab our rib tips, give them a good coating in our spices, and then refrigerate them overnight. Next, we need to prepare our rib tips. I got these from Porter Road, but you can find these at most butchers. In Chicago, they're readily available as it's a treat kind of really known here in the city. The rib tips is the bottom section of the rib that is cut to straighten out the ribs, and you get this really nice piece that has specks of bone or chunks of bone, but it is incredibly tender and fatty meat. I've typically grilled these to finish them off with a really nice sweet barbecue sauce, but I thought it would be fun today to smoke these with a sweet rub and then finish them with a nice sweet sauce to kind of give us a candied rib tip. So let's get these prepared. These are beautiful looking ribs. You can see this from the bottom. You can see the piece of the bone that's listed in here that comes from the rib. You can see this is all meat. You can feel it running through with a nice fat cap in here. So we're going to take our actual rib tips and give them a nice coating of our spices that we made earlier. And you'll see this kind of powdery finish. This is good because we're really going to let these sit overnight, which I don't typically do with my spice rubs on ribs. But I want to get a really good penetration of this sweet and sugar and lots of smell. Oh man, I can smell the actual spices now and it smells wonderful. Get a nice heavy coat on these. So again, a really nice heavy coat goes on these. Really trying to impart a ton of flavor into these rib tips. Man, these are going to be great. I love the smell of this particular rub. It's one of my favorites. I think we have those nicely prepared. Let's get those into a baggie and then into the fridge to let them sit overnight and really soak in that wonderful rub. We have our rib tips in our spice rub. Let them sit overnight. We're putting these in around 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we'll begin the smoking process on these tomorrow morning. Now we will prep our rib tips. I've removed the rib tips out of the refrigerator after letting them sit in the rub that we applied to them overnight. So let's get these onto our racks and into our indoor smoker. pulled the rib tips out of the smoker. They were in for about 3 hours, give or take about 15 minutes of a hold time. They smell fabulous right now. Now, all I'm simply going to do is do a quick basting of a simple barbecue sauce, and then we're going to top them off with a little fire to give them that char grilled flavor. So I think this is really going to be a great way to finish these off. Sometimes I'll put these back into the oven just to finish them off slowly and really kind of generate that ooey and gooiness. A lot of times I like to put these directly on the grill to char them to finish them off. But it's in the middle of the winter in Chicago, and I think right now we will just bring the grill inside. If you have one of these great butane fuel torches, they're great for this indoor barbecue finish. So let's give it a shot. Really trying just to burn that sugar that's in that sauce, that bourbon that's in this glaze. Just burn it, give a nice little char to the rib. You can really smell it smoking out now. Oh man, this is great. I love hitting the bones as well to give them that outside char finish. And voila, look at that. Those are some beautiful glazed rib tips. We'll let these cool down just a bit. We'll chop them up to show you how we serve them in Chicago. We'll give them one last toss in our barbecue sauce so we get them extra sticky, and then we'll give them a taste. Okay, let's cut up our ribs into our rib tips. Oh, these are perfect. Oh, beautiful. I don't know if you can see this very well. This is a great, I think, overhead shot of what a riblet kind of looks like. You can see it's got some cartilage, a little bit of bone in it, then a big hunk of meat sticking off of here. So it's kind of the tail end of the rib where it got cut off. So this is a great bite of food. You just bite around the rest of this. Sometimes you'll get bigger pieces that almost look like a rib that has the meat, you can tell actually has been feathered a little. Very tender. You can see the crispness that's burnt into the edges. It's a great bite of caramelized, candied kind of pork. Alrighty, so I'm going to give this a shot and see how this goes. It should be spectacular. Awesome. I can taste that burnt in from the flame. Kind of caramelize that sugary sauce that I put on top of this to really give it a nice finish coming out of a smoker. And you still want to give it kind of that grilled touch. Go ahead, use a really nice sweet barbecue sauce or something that has a lot of sugar if you're using it yourself. Sometimes you can even just add a little Karo syrup to your existing barbecue sauce and gives that a little extra sugar kick. So when you get the glaze on, not only you get the beautiful caramelization, but you also get some of that glossiness and stickiness that really sets these off. This is what a true kind of rib tip is and where we are here in Chicago. Caramelized, sweet, just beautiful, juicy. And to pull these out of an indoor smoker is an amazing. So I think these were awesome. I hope you enjoyed this session. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. Looking forward to doing more of these for you. So if you have any other ideas of what we should do next, leave them in the comments. Thank you. And good night. This is kind of behind the scenes stuff that only you know. Okay. I'm chopping so loud the dog's barking. I'm getting them back finally. Once I have all my spices in my grinder, I simply put it, I spill it the f everywhere. Holy shit.